In my last video talking about the many flaws and lies promoted by governments who aren't spending their huge EV budgets to actually improve the infrastructure, and electric car companies turning a blind eye to the environmentally damaging production of lithium batteries, I wanted to see if there was a potential competitor in the industry of EVs today. Since hearing that the possible successor of battery-powered EVs might in fact be hydrogen-powered cars, and according to a certain cheese-loving car journalist, these cars actually actively improve the environment when they're on the road.
But what it's telling me is how many times I've cleaned enough air for one person to breathe for a day. The car is actually making the environment better.
Since having such an environmentally healthy byproduct, and the fact that they can be charged in the same amount of time as a gas-powered car, it was hard not to want to dive deep and get an understanding of the potential of hydrogen-powered cars and the evolution of fuel cell electric vehicles in the future. But before going into a lot of the downsides of fuel cell electric vehicles, I would like to say some of the upsides. First off, hydrogen cars can be fueled as fast as regular gasoline cars and have just as much range, unlike battery electric vehicles that can take hours to charge for a fraction of the range. And yeah, sure, maybe that's okay if you don't mind the weight, and you can also fit it into your lifestyle. But since looking online at some second-hand electric cars, a lot of them only seem to be advertising around the 100-mile range, or potentially less. And this is pretty abysmal compared to the average 300 that I expected from most of these vehicles. Take this Nissan Leaf for example, which only reports around 109 miles. Or this Citroën Ami, which claims to only be able to do 46 miles on a full charge. While hydrogen cars offer advantages, apparently they aren't as clean, efficient, or even safe as traditional EVs, since the production and distribution of hydrogen can still involve carbon emissions depending on the source. But so does the production of electricity and the actual earth-destroying lithium batteries, to be fair. So what if we put all the time, effort, and billions of dollars into the advancement of conversion methods of hydrogen, and greener ways to obtain it, instead of the countless billions of dollars that we've spent to further the evolution of regular battery-powered EVs?
They're going to install 500,000 charging stations all across America.
Well, this all sounds great in theory, but there's a few minor things that have stopped fuel cell EVs from taking the spotlight. Hydrogen cars are currently way more expensive than most internal combustion engine cars and battery-powered electric vehicles. The infrastructure is also sparse, with there only being 15 charging points in all of the UK, and even if you get to a charging point, hydrogen can be up to 11 times more expensive than natural gas. Storing and transporting hydrogen is also pretty complex, with it requiring high pressure tanks which can be expensive and bulky. Additionally though, hydrogen's lack of energy density means that large quantities are needed to cover reasonable distances. So what would the perfect hydrogen society look like? I think that the problems with price, infrastructure, and how we source the hydrogen could all be solved over time, and when handled responsibly, green hydrogen is less dangerous than other flammable fluids. Hydrogen is also 14 times lighter than air and 57 times lighter than gasoline vapor. This means that when released, hydrogen will typically rise and disperse rapidly, greatly reducing the risk of ignition at ground level. I think as soon as we have renewable energy in the forms of enough solar panels and wind turbines, then we can produce the hydrogen needed at a better pace. So with the future in mind, why don't we push hydrogen cars a lot more than we're currently doing? Well, personally, I think big oil companies would hate it, as you're not just stupidly converting fossil fuels into hydrogen, and if you're not doing that, they're all going to be out of jobs. That goes for electricity companies as well, for the same reason that energy will be more bountiful, sinking their profits. And finally, all the people creating jobs that are ultimately killing the planet to produce EV batteries wouldn't be all for this innovative change, because it would also affect their bottom line. But let's be honest, even if everybody did work towards fully renewable energy, society probably won't even last long enough to see us get to that point if the world keeps going the way it's going at this rate. Thanks for watching, and if you're not a fan of either side of this EV war and would rather drive around in a Ford street car, then make sure to subscribe for more rants about the potential futures we're being thrown right into.